want to start off by saying Sunday's going to be Mother's Day. And Scott will not be coming home. I'm going to read a letter.
A mother tearfully recalls her son and asks the judge to do what he thinks is right when sentencing John Goodman in his DUI conviction. Goodman is sentenced to 16 years in prison. Good evening. I'm Michael Williams.
And I'm Kelly Dunn. People on both sides of the case spoke up, some recalling the tragic events of that fateful night in February of 2010 when Scott Wilson was killed.
Others talked about John Goodman himself, a man they say had only done good in the community until that fateful evening. We have team coverage of all of today's developments. First, we go live to the Palm Beach County Courthouse, where our colleague Jay Cashmere is leading our coverage and some late-breaking developments. Jay?
Certainly is a lot of twists and turns in this case today, Michael and Kelly. A few hours ago, we learned that John Goodman was sentenced to 16 years behind bars. Well, just about 10 minutes ago, we learned he'll be getting out on bond. We have a full screen we want to bring up, a picture of some of the conditions and terms of this bond. He will post $7 million bond next week, presumably on Wednesday. He will be ordered to hire police to watch his every move. He'll be under GPS monitoring. He'll have drug and alcohol test repeatedly. And then one twist here, if he legally adopts his girlfriend, which was a unique twist to this case prior to the trial, a hearing will be held on that matter. So for all intents and purposes, John Goodman was sentenced to 16 years. He was ordered to at least serve that, and then about an hour later, he was granted bond, and that's what has happened here over the past few hours here. Both the prosecution and defense met with Judge Colbath and agreed upon all of the terms and all of the conditions. Basically, Judge Colbath honing in, saying he was worried about John Goodman being a flight risk, and under these terms, that won't be a factor. So John Goodman should be free on bond next week, presumably on Wednesday. He'll be mandated right to his house. He can only conduct business back and forth to his work-related events on the International Polo Grounds, but pretty much he'll be confined to his house. There'll be no socializing. So just an emotional day. A lot has happened today. Prior to the sentencing, there was a lot of emotion leading up to the point where he was sentenced today, and then, of course, the bond hearing thereafter. I want to bring in my colleague Alex Sanz. He joins me now live, covering this case, covering every angle and the twists and turns in it. A lot of developments today, Alex.
Plenty of developments, Jay, and as you said, a very emotional afternoon here at the Palm Beach County Courthouse. And to put this in perspective, Mother's Day is this Sunday, and that is what Lili Wilson brought to the judge's attention today during the sentencing hearing when she spoke about her son during a very emotional appearance before the court this afternoon. As you know, during the sentencing process of his phase, there were quite a few people who addressed the court today trying to paint a better picture of the past several years, describing who Scott Wilson was, the kind of person he was, the future he had ahead of him. At the same time, those who were there on behalf of John Goodman doing the same thing. We heard from his nephew, from his sister, people who spoke to his character who said he really is a good guy. This was an accident, and perhaps the best punishment shouldn't be a prison sentence, but maybe he should be sentenced to home arrest or do something where he can do something more with the community here in Wellington, a place they say he helped build over the past many years. That said, during this process, the judge also said, given everything he has seen, everything he has heard, he wasn't quite convinced that John Goodman necessarily shared the events as they happened that night back in February 2010, stopping just short of calling him a flat-out liar. He was very angry about this. And so here now is the judge, John Goodman, and Lili Wilson.
By dying at such a young age, he will never have the opportunity to work as a professional after graduating from engineering school. He will never have the opportunity to marry and raise a family of his own. He will never have the opportunity to pass on his intellectual gifts and accomplishments to future generations. He didn't even have the opportunity to donate his organs.
I can't imagine or even pretend to imagine what it would be like to lose a son. And every day I feel like I carry, Scott Patrick Wilson with me every day, and that's all I think about going forward. Is I know that I have to do good and be a better person and carry on whatever I can, and do good for him and his short life. I just can't imagine what they must go through and what his sister Christy and his mom William, and it's just I mean, just to be a part of this is just so tragic and horrible. I don't know what else to say. I'm just really, my heart goes out to the family, and I'm so remorseful and sad.
This was a senseless accident because Mr. Goodman decided to drive when he was too drunk.
Again, that sentence handed down late this afternoon, 16 years in prison for John Goodman. A decisive day here as one chapter closes, another one prepares to begin here in Palm Beach County. Of course, there was some worry by the family of Scott Wilson this would not go on today as scheduled, with juror Dennis DeMartin being called back into the courthouse here behind me to answer more allegations of jury misconduct. This with respect to his book and allegations he said he had in there that he drank the night before the verdict, several drinks, as John Goodman said he did the night of the accident, to see how it would feel. The defense says this is proof of jury misconduct.